Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Shanty Sessions. This is the 28th episode, as you can see just up there. 28th episode of our Livestream Shanty Sessions, and I can't wait to deliver it, to serve it up for you. Tonight, we are joined by a very special guest called Sally Hardman. We'll be hearing from her a little bit later on, and our rogues will know her and recognize her face. In the meantime, we've had a few comments already. Good evening all, says Charlie Moore. Evening, Stephen, Paul, and all, says Carly Franklin. Chris Collins, one of our newer rogues, she says, evening, everyone. Michelle Gallagher, and she's a well-established rogue, and she says, good evening, everyone, and she gives a little wave. Marion Bouchert is not one of our regular, well, she is now, but she's not one of our established rogues because she lives all the way out in British Columbia in Canada. Greetings, everyone, she says. Carol Fisher's a little bit closer to home. Evening, everyone, she says. Hazel Rumble, hi all. Well, hi, Hazel, and thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to everybody for joining us. So this is, as I said, our 28th session, and I can see Sally, so give me a wave, Sally. Yeah, so everything's good. Sally will be on later, around about 8:15. In the meantime, you have to just put up with me. And unfortunately, Sally, I did not leave you any corn cocktail sausages. I hope that's okay. Yeah, no, as you can tell, I've eaten them all. Now, what is a Rogue Shanty Chorus, you may be wondering. Even if you're not, I'm going to tell you. The Rogue Shanty Chorus is an authentic fishing choir based in Lowestoft. Now, Lowestoft, for those of you that don't know, is the most easterly town in the whole of the UK. And what we do is we celebrate the music of fishermen and seafaring communities, singing sea shanties and maritime themed songs as part of a wider creative arts project called the Unique Coastal Cultural and Musical Heritage of Waveney. We celebrate the associated heritage of the fishing industry in North Suffolk and the surrounding areas. So hello to all our regular choir members, the rogues that meet at the Seagull Theatre, which is in Lowestoft, Pakefield, in the southern end of Lowestoft. We meet there on our usual fortnightly sessions, and we're actually planning to meet once again on the 13th of October, and it will be, fingers crossed, it will be our first time meeting again in an actual physical capacity. So we've been enjoying each other's company, I'd say that lightly, on these Shanty Session live streams, but on the 13th of October, we are planning to actually get together properly at our spiritual home of the Seagull Theatre. Now, all of those spaces are fully booked, unfortunately. So if you were planning to come along and you don't already have a space booked, then please don't come along. If anybody drops out, perhaps we'll be able to let you know. But in the meantime, as far as we're aware, all those spaces are booked. And what we'll do is we'll do our best to make sure that people get the chance to book again on following sessions once we've had that chance to work everything out. Our pilot group, the pilot rogues, have been absolutely instrumental in helping us get to that point, so thank you to them. Anyway, I've chatted already quite a lot. Now, what we have for you tonight is songs from Suffolk, songs from Norfolk. We've got a song from Liverpool and a song from South Australia. I bet you can't guess which one that is. But first off, we're going to have a song from Cornwall. This is number 15 in our regular Rogues catalogue. For anybody that's got a folder, you'll find it under 15. Just before we launch into that, I'm going to say hello to a few more people because I absolutely love getting your comments. There's no comments corner tonight because it's just me and Sally later. So I'm just going to say hello to Monica Manning. Hi, everyone, she says. Pat Briggs says, hello, everyone. Looking forward to another musical evening. Hi, Pat. Thank you very much for joining in. Ben Southern, evening, everyone, she says. And Janet Woods says, hello, everyone. It could be David Woods, or it could be both of them. I wonder if they'll tell us. Kasia Marskinkowska, she says, hi, everyone. And she is viewing all the way from Poland, unless she's moved and hasn't told us. Linda Boyce, hello, folks. Wendy Duncan, hello, everyone. Good to be with you again. Very good to have you, Wendy. Thank you for joining in. Janice Marjoram, hello, each and all. And she's put a little anchor on this. I don't know how you add those little symbols and emojis, so I'm very jealous. Now, Steve Greenwood, he's a good fella. He says, evening all. Evening, Steve. Lovely to know you're out there, so thanks once again. I'm going to ask everybody if they could please click share. Stephen's not here, but he put that picture up. I can see why. She's a lovely lady. But please do click share. I'm going to launch into this next song, which, as I said, is John Carter, The Smuggler, number 15. And we'll chat about it a little bit later. If you don't know the lyrics, you don't need to, because they're right there. And all you have to do really is join in with the bit that says, "And 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in." That's the chorus, and all you've got to do is sing it out nice and strong. Of Prussia Cove, where I was born, a song I'll here begin. Me father is a smuggler bold, a well-to-do, not him. To land a cargo of the goods he never thought of sin, and 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. John Carter is me father's name, the king of all his kin. He is an honest man and keeps his word through thick and thin. For mounted men and cutlass guard he doesn't care a pin, and 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. Our lugger is the Rose and Crown we've brought to rack and ruin. A double burden too is she, as snug as any bin. To see the kick she brings from France would make a donkey grin, and 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. No mark of kecks, no sinking stone is ever seen within. Across the channel, rough or smooth, so sweetly she does spin. What joy, me boys, to land the goods, nor lose or kill the kin. And 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. We've friends galore along the shore, there's dear old Squire Prynne, and every farmer near or far a mate there at the inn. And parsons never do despise a case of Holland's gin, and 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. For speed from all preventing eyes from France and to New Lynn, they'd saw a poor man's boat in half and joy to do him in. Why should they take the bread away we work so hard to win? And 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. And that's how that song sounds. Now, a little bit of context. John Carter, the Smuggler, as is the title, or also known as the King of Prussia. John Carter and the Carters, they were a family of Prussia Cove in Cornwall. So nothing to do with Prussia other than the name. They were active in the late 18th century, operating out of Prussia Cove in Cornwall. They had a hideout home in a remote cliff next to the ocean. They were known also as the Cove Gang, as they defended the place with cannons. Now, John Carter was nicknamed the King of Prussia in reference to his smuggling operations, along with some of his brothers, Harry Carter and Charles Carter. He actually obtained the nickname because he was said to closely resemble Frederick the Great, the King of Prussia, and was said to much admire him, and gave his name. Oh, he actually gave the name to the cove, which was located east of Penzance. Now, what would happen was the brothers would lure in boats as close to the cliffs as they could. Sometimes they'd employ interesting tactics, such as a light attached to a donkey that would fool the boats into thinking they were further out than they were, and then when they beached up on the rocks, they were wrecked effectively, and then the Carters would swim out and obtain as much of the goods that were on board as they could, and they'd go out armed as well. So if they had to do some dastardly deed to see the crew off, they would do it. But everybody benefited from this kind of custom. It went into the local economy very much so, as referenced in the lyrics. They talk about parsons not despising Holland's gin, and dear old Squire Prynne, every farmer near or far, blah blah blah. But as I said, they saw a poor man's boat in half and joy to do him in. So they wouldn't just do it if it was strictly necessary. They might slit a throat or two, just for their kicks, just for fits and giggles. Anyway, as I said, we've got lots of different songs tonight from all over. let's go to a few more comments before I give you some of the obligatory chat. Marion Bouchard, she says, can you believe it's been 7 months? In some ways, it's been a really long 7 months, if I'm honest, Marion. But whilst we're doing these, it always flies away too quickly. Maggie Clark, hello everyone. Hello Maggie, hope you're well. And Anne Benz, hello everyone. Best wishes, lovely to have you, Anne. Thanks for joining in. Janet says yes. Paul, David is here too. Good. And another couple is the Drapers. Evening all. Hello Jackie. Hello Barry. Lovely to know that you're there with us. Charlie gives 3 thumbs up. Not sure why. Gillian Lamprey says, good evening all. Good evening, Gillian. Thank you very much. And 3 rounds of applause. Thank you very much to Marion. Now, Kevin Lugmeyer is an old friend of mine from the Seagull Theatre, a great technician if anyone's ever looking for one, not just for lights, but sound as well. I know there's not an awful lot of events going on, but Kevin's your man. He says, does anyone have any pictures of the Ocean Spray YH264 drifter? My father-in-law would very much like it. So a drifter was a type of fishing boat, and I believe, if I get my terminology correct, that the drifters would hang their nets out the side, so right off the beam of their ship, and would drift the net across. Whereas a trawler, being more distinctly different in that they would put their nets out just off the aft, so across the back of their boat. But I believe a drifter came off the side. So this is a Yarmouth drifter called Ocean Spray, and it's number YH264. If anybody's got any pictures of that, please would you let me know or let Kevin know directly. Sue Day, wonderful to see you there. Ahoy there all. Words of song lyrics running off page before I can read or sing them. Or is my laptop at fault? I'm not sure. It seemed to be going correctly from this end. If anybody else had that problem, please let us know. We've got a correspondent already in Chris Collins. We'll check later, Kevin, as I have lots of photos and info. Thank you very much, Chris. And that's something that we absolutely love, is the fact that we're talking to each other, because we really, really wanted to keep that feeling of community and enrich it further. And that comes directly from our sponsors, People's Health Trust. Now, they funded our project very kindly via the Active Communities Programme. And not just have they promised to fund our sessions at the Seagull, but they're very kindly funding us here tonight and every night that we live stream. So there's 28 of those live streams, including tonight, and they're all available on Facebook. You can go back, but not yet. Just wait until we finish this one, please. And trawl back through, have a look. If there's anything you want to have a look at or correct us on, we'd be very happy to hear. All of them are available on our Rogue Shanty Chorus page and our Rogue Shanty Boys page. But you may be joining us from YouTube, which we've quite recently added to the list of ways and formats and platforms that you can view us on. So YouTube won't have them all, I'm afraid, but they will have many, and Facebook will have them all. Now, as I said, People's Health Trust, that you will see just here, this is their logo. They funded us to work with people of all ages, from 2 years old to 90 years young, all abilities, from experienced musicians to those just starting to explore their love of music. And these broadcasts are led by either Stephen and or myself in direct response to the social distancing measures that were put in place to safeguard the UK public against COVID-19. They've been our means of staying connected with our members and to continue to engage with them and new people during this time. Hopefully they've been working. We'll see how we go. We're very, very lucky to have joining us tonight Sally Hardman from the Rogues, not just from the Rogues, but also she is one of our wonderful pilots. She's a pilot rogue. She's also the owner and worker bee, I guess, of From Grandma's Stash. If you haven't checked out her Facebook page, well, check it out. But again, not right now. After this session is finished, From Grandma's Stash is her Facebook page and shop at Hensted Hensted Arts and Crafts Centre, I believe it's the full title. And we are delighted to have her joining us in a little while. In the meantime, let's go to a song that's a little bit closer to home. This is just off the Norfolk coast. It's called Windy Old Weather, or as we say here, Windy Old Weather. And it is number 10 in your catalogues if you have one. If you don't have one, once again, I'm going to put it up on screen so there's no excuse for not singing along. So please sing along with this number, Windy Old Weather. As we were a-fishing off Haysborough Light, shooting and hauling and trawling all night in this windy old weather, stormy old weather. When the wind blows, we all pull together. When the wind blows, we all pull together. When up jumped a heron, the queen of the sea, said, "Now you old skipper, you cannot catch me in this windy old weather, stormy old weather. When the wind blows, we all pull together. When the wind blows, we all pull together." Then round comes a place that has spots on his side, says, "Not much longer these seas you can ride in this windy old weather, stormy old weather. When the wind blows, we all pull together. When the wind blows, we all pull together." And then round comes a mackerel with stripes on his back, says, "Now, old skipper, you'll shift your main tack in this windy old weather, stormy old weather. When the wind blows, we all pull together. When the wind blows, we all pull together." Then up jumps a slipsole as strong as a horse, says, "Now, old skipper, you'll shift your main course in this windy old weather, stormy old weather. When the wind blows, we all pull together. When the wind blows, we all pull together." Then up rears a conger as long as a mile. "Wind's coming easterly," he said with a smile, "in this windy old weather, stormy old weather. When the wind blows, we all pull together. When the wind blows, we all pull together." I think what these fishers was saying was right. We'll haul up our gear now and steer for the light in this windy old weather, stormy old weather. When the wind blows, we all pull together. When the wind blows, we all pull together in this windy old weather, stormy old weather. When the wind blows, we all pull together. When the wind blows, we all pull together. And that's how that goes. Now, I've got a little bit of things to tell you about this because it's very close to home. So we like to know a little bit of the information in it. First off, Haysborough Light. I think most of us would know that Haysborough Light refers to the Haysborough Lighthouse. And the Haysborough Lighthouse is, in fact, I think it's the oldest working lighthouse in the country. But I'm going to double check that. Yes, the oldest working lighthouse in East Anglia, not the country. I've just promoted it. But it is unique as it's the only independently operated lighthouse in Great Britain, which is a pretty good fact. Now, Sam Larner, we know his relative Tony Larner, a good friend of mine and Stephen's, and a great musician in his own right. Now, Sam Larner called this Up Jump the Herring, whilst American singers prefer the title The Boston Come All Ye. Don't know why they call it that. Probably because they're American. Bob Roberts recorded this tune in 1977, but has been heard sung by him all the way since the 1950s. And Bob Roberts spent most of his working life on sailing barges carrying cargo all around Britain and across the Channel to Europe as well. Good old Bob Roberts. But we sing our version. This was indexed in the Round Index as number 472. If you're ever just happening upon the Round Index, it's a fascinating resource actually. So well worth a look if you fancy it. We do it for research, but once again, for fits and giggles, have a look yourself. So what else do we have here? May have to employ a bit of memory in that case, Sue. Paul is chief bottle washer and errand boy, while Stephen is off gallivanting, but only until 10, and he's definitely not dancing or getting too close to anyone. The cheeky so-and-so. Anyway, Gillian Lamprey, still there. Lovely to know you're out there. Sandra Warner, hi everyone. A big thank you to the People's Health Trust. We all appreciate your support. Well, thank you, Sandra. She's another one of our pilots, one of the people that keeps us on track, or on course, I guess, would be the correct sailing vernacular. But she's absolutely right. A big thank you to everybody at People's Health Trust, because they not just offer financial support to keep these broadcasts and our regular sessions going and funded, but they offer also all kinds of support to us on the phone or by email whenever we need it, and they're always plugging us and singing our praises, if you pardon the pun. Talking of singing, Michelle Gallagher, she says, love singing this one. Well, thank you very much, Michelle. I do too. And Carly Franklin gave it 3 rounds of applause, which is probably more than I deserved. Chris Collins said, buffering a bit. Really sorry about that, Chris. Hopefully it gets better very quickly. Claire Garrett, nice to know you there. She says, hi, 3 claps, liked that one. Thank you very much. Claire, would you let us know if anybody's, if you're on shift and anybody else is watching? No problems if you're alone. Just wondered if you were being joined by several of your wards. Kevin Lugmeyer says, thank you to Chris Collins, because she's going to check for him to see if she's got any pictures of that drifter. Does anybody know if I was correct or incorrect about that drifter? I'd be really interested to know. But we shall see. Now, before I go any further, something very, very important that I've forgotten already. This is our book of Suffolk words and phrases by Edward Moore. There are many books like it, but this is our one. And now what this does is it celebrates the vocabulary of East Anglia, particularly Suffolk. And this goes back to the 1830s. In fact, 1823. Returning to his home from 20 years' service in India, Edward Moore was forcibly struck by the provincialisms of his native county. His collection, first published in 1823, was one of the earliest studies of an English dialect. Over 2,500 words in use at the time are recorded here. Comparisons with contemporary compilations are made, throwing light on the relationship of local words to usage in other parts of the country. So, what word do we have for you tonight? We would like to know if you can guess, or perhaps you already know, what this word means. Chrissy. Chrissy. The word is Chrissy. So please let us know. We'd be delighted to hear your suggestions. What do you think Chrissy might mean? Interesting. Please pop it in the comments box, and I'll read out anything that's clean and suitable for family viewing. So have a good guess. The word is Chrissy, and it could well be still in use. That's the thing with this book, is we often find words in there that are still in use, and we can't use them for this section because you'll all know, and it won't be any fun at all. But this one I don't think is, but it's certainly one that's very, very particular to Suffolk. So anybody want to have some guesses? Please, please, please let me know. In the meantime, let's go to another song, shall we? This one is number 4 in the repertoire, and it's called God Moves on the Water. Now, this is a fantastic song, and it's about the night that the Titanic came to an untimely demise. And all I need to do is find it in our own catalogue. There it is. And then I can share it. So if you don't know it, you soon will. But even if you don't want to look at the words on the screen, it's quite easy to sing along with the chorus, which goes, God moves on the water. You know what? I'm going to get guitar for this one. Then I can make sure I'm in the right pitch. I was. April the 14th day. God moves on the water. Everybody gonna run and pray. So that's all you really need to know, but we're going to display the lyrics for you anyway, because we're nice like that. And we love to know if you're singing along. So if you don't know it, have a little listen, see how it goes, and then join in as and when you feel a bit more comfortable. The lyrics will be appearing shortly, something like that. God moves on the water, April the 14th day. God moves on the water, everybody gonna run and pray. Well, Titanic left Southampton, everyone aboard was gay. But when they struck that iceberg, well, I know their minds was changed. God moves on the water, April the 14th day. God moves on the water, everybody gonna run and pray. Well, the mothers told their daughters on a pleasure trip they'd go. But when they struck that iceberg, well, they ain't been seen no more. And God moves on the water, April the 14th day. God moves on the water, everybody gonna run and pray. Well, they were coated by a freight boat. Captain Smith did not take heed. He would not hear that whine, and he went on with greatest speed. God moves on the water, April the 14th day. God moves on the water, everybody gonna run and pray. Well, Foreman John Jacob Astor was a man so bold and brave. As the great ship was a sinking, all the women he was trying to save. And God moves on the water, April the 14th day. God moves on the water, everybody gonna run and pray. When he kissed his wife the last time, the boiler did explode. He pushed her onto the lifeboat. He said, I won't see you no more. And God moves on the water, April the 14th day. God moves on the water, everybody gonna run and pray. Well, the 14th day of April, 1912, 1,600 went down below to dwell. God moves on the water, April the 14th day. God moves on the water, everybody gonna run and pray. God moves on the water, April the 14th day. God moves on the water, everybody gonna run and pray. God moves on the water, April the 14th day. God moves on the water, everybody gonna run and pray. So that's what that sounds like. It's number 4 in our repertoire, as I mentioned before. But I'm just going to check out some of these comments. Claire Garrett says, on my lonesome, but we'll show one afternoon this week. Oh, that's very good to know. Thank you very much. And who else have we got corresponding? Chris Collins says, that's what my husband calls me. What, buffering? Is that what he calls you, buffering? Does he mean it in a nice way? I hope so. Bill Lyman says, hello, just tuned in. Is your partner late again? No, he's just decided he's not coming at all. No, he's got a prior engagement that he couldn't get out of. And if he could have done, he would have done, I can assure you. But he's not here. And I should just, I don't know if I need to make the point. We're business partners. And nothing more than that. Just in case anyone wondered. Michelle Gallagher gives it 4 rounds of applause. Thank you very much. Too kind. Linda Boyce says, haunting Shanty. Not heard before. Thanks. Well, thank you, Linda. That's really nice of you to say so. And as I mentioned, it's all about the Titanic. It's originally a gospel blues song recorded by Blind Willie Johnson in 1929, released on a 78 RPM record by Columbia. Anybody remember the old 78s? They were not many left because they're pretty brittle. All the ones I've got are. Now, the song describes the sinking of RMS Titanic and the consequent loss of life after it struck an iceberg on April 14th, 1912. Its origins are obscure. Topical songs are generally written soon after the event to which they relate. Johnson's lyrics call the ship's captain A.G. Smith, but his name was actually E.J. Smith, which suggests it might have come from an oral tradition and he may not have written it as he claimed to. And the fact that 2 of the earliest recordings, one by Johnson in 29 and one by Mance Lipscomb in 65, were made by Texans, suggests that it originates in that state. The title itself, God Moves on the Water, may refer to the book of Genesis, in which it says, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. If it does, the song may derive from an earlier gospel song that we don't know about, could well now be lost. But we'll see. Ashley Bovington, she says, looks like he says, I'm enjoying this. Well, thank you very much, Ashley. I wonder if you're new to our bunch. We're a bunch of rogues by name only, called the Rogue Shanty Chorus. And Chris Collins says, haha, no Chrissy. Oh, so he doesn't call you buffering, he calls you Chrissy. Charlie Moore says, great song, thank you very much. And Bill Lyman says, sometimes that needs to be made clear. Oh, I see, right. I thought you were talking about the history of the Titanic, which, as you know, Bill, we do our best to make the histories clear, and you're a man that seems to know quite a bit of history yourself. So if we ever get things wrong or you disagree with something we say, don't be afraid to to make the comment and let us know, because we're all about the importance of the culture and the history of these songs. So when we need to be put right, put us right. You know what? I'm getting a little bit lonely, so I'm about to ask Sally to join me. But first off, I'm going to go back to this thing. Chrissy. Anybody got any ideas what that means? Now, it's a Suffolk word or phrase, as you can see by the title of the book by Edward Moore. But we're wondering if anybody knows what this interesting Suffolk word means. The word is Chrissy. Now, not many people have guessed yet. But I tell you someone who has, and that is Marion Bouchette. She says, Chrissy, could it mean contrary? From Chris to crisscross. That's a very good good stab in the dark. As in, this damned horse was Chrissy today, wouldn't plough a straight furrow. Yeah, could well mean that. We'll have to find out. Chrissy. Anybody else want to take a guess at what it could mean? No one else wants to. Well, I'm going to ask Sally if she wants to have a guess, and I'm going to bring her in now, and I hope she's there.
No idea.
Okay. You might find, and hopefully not, that the feedback on your device gets a little bit too much. But if it does, we'll sort that out. In the meantime, you really don't want to take any guess at all.
I haven't got a clue.
Okay, fair enough. How are you, Sally?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm probably better than I look. And there's John as well. Hello, John.
He always wants to stick his nose in.
Yeah, just make a quick cameo appearance. Now, Sally, we've talked about this before, but you've been really busy, especially way back early in the sort of lockdown and social distancing phase. Doing what exactly from Grandma's stash?
Making face masks.
Now, for everybody out there that's not familiar with Sally's business, which is called From Grandma's Stash, that's not by any means all that she does. In fact, I think before this, you hadn't made a single face mask.
No. First one made March the 28th.
Yep. And do you know how many you've made since then?
About 1,180-ish.
Wow. And that was a busy week, wasn't it? Good. That's a heck of a lot. But do you think there's any more to come?
Yeah. Started doing Halloween ones, Christmas ones. Carol has bought loads as Christmas presents already. Thank you, Carol.
Carol Fisher. Hi, Carol. She's watching tonight. I like the idea of the Halloween ones. Are they super scary?
No, because I haven't really got that much in the way of Halloween fabric, but I've got spiders and bats. Hang on.
That's plenty, yeah. Here's one she made earlier.
Here's one I made earlier. And
modelled by Sally. That's fantastic. I like that a lot, yeah. Perfect. Perfectly on brand. If anybody that's coming along on the 13th to our first rescheduled actual live physical meeting back at
Yay!
Hey, Sally will be there, won't you, Sal?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, John and I booked him.
Fantastic. Anybody else that's coming but doesn't have a face mask, you will need a mask for the in-between bits. Obviously, we're not going to sing in the mask, but for the in-between bits, we do request that you bring a mask, especially for entering and leaving the building, and for the in between the songs. If you don't have a mask, or you do have a mask but you want another one, why not get in touch with Sally on her Facebook page From Grandma's Stash. Now, Carol says the masks are great, and
I didn't pay her. I haven't paid her.
No, but she should know because she's got a few. Chris Collins, love the masks. Thank you very much. Get in touch with Sally. Hang on, Sally, we should just say, did you say Carol had bought lots for her Christmas presents?
Yeah.
Let's hope they weren't surprise Christmas presents.
But they're all different, so you don't know what they look like.
Exactly, yeah. I'm guessing they won't be Halloween ones.
No.
Michelle Gallagher says, lovely to see you, Sally. John too, and she gives a little wave. Linda Boyce says, well done, Sally. Thank you very much, Linda. And Carly says, hey, Sally. Sally, since you're here with us, I don't know.
Just popped in.
Yeah. Seems like it'd be a good idea, if you're up for it, to sing a little song or two. Would you be up for that?
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
that's such you asking.
Yeah, well, that's the best I can do. I'd love to sing along with you, but unfortunately, you're too good, and I can't because there's a time lag between us. There's ever such a slight variation in time, which when we're talking doesn't matter that much, but when we're singing together, it matters a heck of a lot. So I'm going to be in the hands of Sally. And what have you got in store for us?
Well, I did challenge you to sing it, but you
check it out. Yeah. So is it Yarmouth Key?
Yeah, that comes into it.
Or is it Yarmouth Tune? I can't remember what it's called now.
Both.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to mute myself, remove myself, and leave you to Sally.
All right. We'll see how this goes then. Hello, everybody. Right. I'm going to try it. Here we go. Come all ye fisher lasses, come a while with me. Fae Cain, Balgan, Gamry, and Fae and Verlocky, Fae Bucky and Fae Aberdeen, and all the country round. We're a to cut the hair, and we're a to Yarmouth tune. Rise up in the morning with your bundle in your hand. Be at the station early, or you'll surely here to stand. Tuck plenty to eat and a kettle for your tea, or you'll maybe die of hunger on the way to Yarmouth Quay. The journey, it's a long and it takes a day or twa, and when you reach your lodging, sure it's soon to sleep you'll fall, but you rise at 5 with your sleep still in your ear. You're out to find the cotton yards along from Yarmouth Quay. It's early in the morning and it's late into the night. Your hands are cutting choppered and they looking uncosacht, and you greet like a wind when you put them in the brie, and you'll wish you were 1,000 miles away from Yarmouth Quay. There's coopers there and curers there and buyers canny cheels, and lasses at the pickling and others on the creels, and you'll wish the fish had been all left in the sea by the time you finish cutting herring on the Yarmouth Quay. We'd gutted fish in Lerwick and in Stornoway and Shields, whacked along the Humber amongst the barrels and the creels. Whitby, Grimsby, we've travelled up and down, but the place to see the herring is the quay at Yarmouth Town. Come all you fisher lasses, it's come awa with me, fae Cain, Mulgan, Gymru and fae Inverlochie, fae Bucky and fae Aberdeen and all the country round. We're awa to cut the herring, we're awa to Yarmouth Town.
Very nice indeed. Hold tight while I sort out my settings. Fantastic. Very, very nicely done. Thank you, Sally. And
well, apologies to anyone who's Scottish, lives in Scotland, got any Scottish relatives, has heard of Scotland, or Scotland.
I don't think sounded good to me. Now, this was based on the traditional song, a Scottish song called Up Among the Heather. Because this was actually, although it sounds very, very authentic, this was actually written by Ewan McCall for a radio piece called Singing the Fishes, I think it was called. And it's a fantastic song. And as we can hear, it's in Scots dialect. Now, we have straight away, we've got lots and lots of comments come straight in. So we should have just had Sally on every single time. So we've got 3 rounds of applause, 4 from Chris Collins.
Thank
Carly
you.
Franklin says, love this song. She gives it 3 rounds. Gillian Lamprey, great job, Sally. Hi, Sally, sounding great, says Maggie Clark.
Yay.
Now, Michelle, she gives it 4 rounds of applause and says, fantastic. Claire
Thank
Gam
you.
says, nothing but 4 rounds of applause also. Bill Lyman, he says, need to play the bones with that song. And that's, I think, Bill's way of saying it's brilliant. Now, for anybody that don't know, the bones, they're flat pieces of percussion instrument. You play 2 together, kind of like playing the spoons, but they were originally made out of bones. Charlie says, nice one, Sally.
Charles.
Linda Boyce says, bravo, Sally. Chris Collins says, love it, Sally. Well, these go on and on, Sally. Monica Manning says, gives it 3 rounds of applause. Chloe says, well done, Sally. Janet Woods, lovely, Sally, well done. De Draper says, lovely to hear and see you, Sally. Ben Southern, 3 rounds of applause. Sandra Warner says, wow, Sally, that was great, well done. And Sandra's got a lovely voice herself, so she should know. Carol Fisher says, brilliant, 3 rounds of applause, a masked face and a sweaty smiler. I think the sweaty smiler must be me, and the masked face must be Sally or Carol. Anyway, lovely, very nicely done.
Thanks, guys.
Sally, would you be interested in doing another one since we've got so many comments of people liking it?
Well, what would you like?
Well, oh wow. Well, I was wondering if forgive me if you've got places to be, because I can see you're at the shop, and it's quite.
Oh no, I'm at home.
Oh, it looks just like.
Yeah, it does. It's my sewing room.
Oh, okay. So you and John recreated it at Hensted.
Pretty much.
It looks ever so much like it. I'm grateful of you joining us, but would you mind if I sing a song and then I bring you back in to sing maybe something like Farewell to Tarworthy?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or anything really that you fancy?
I don't mind. I mean, You sang Tawathi the other day.
Okay. What else? Well, you have a look through your folder while I sing this one from Liverpool, which is Maggie May. Is that right? And I'll bring you back in sort of 4 minutes.
Yeah, lovely. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. See you in a second.
Okay.
The wonderful Sally Hardman there. She's going to sing us another song very shortly. But in the meantime, I promised you one from Liverpool. This one is called, it's Maggie May, of course, and it sings the tale of a sailor who, well, he goes the way of many sailors of that time, and he finds himself in the arms of a lady of disrepute or ill repute called Maggie. And it could be any lady, I'm imagining, of that type. And basically, she steals from him. She does a few other things as well, but we won't talk about that. We'll just sing it. Number 35 for anybody that has a folder with it in. And if you don't, I'm going to do my best to play it, to scroll it through your screen. Now, come all you young sailors, and listen to me plea, and when you've heard me tale, you'll pity me. For I was a fool in the port of Liverpool, the very first time I came home from sea. Now I've paid off at home from Sierra Leone, £3.10 a month it was we pay. But I wasted all me tin whilst drinking up the gin with a pretty little girl called Maggie May. Now well do I remember where I first met Maggie May. She was cruising up and down in Canning Place. She was dressed up mighty fine, like a frigate of the line. So being a young sailor, I gave chase. I kept right on her track, she took the other tack. I caught her and I broke her mizzen line. The next morning I awoke with a head more bent than broke. No coat, no vest, no trousers could I find. I asked her where they were. She said, my good sir, they're down at Park Lane pawn shop number 9. You've had your cake and bun. It's time for you to run, or you'll never make the dockside lad in time. To the pawn shop I did go, but me trousers didn't show. The police came and took that girl away. The judge, he guilty found her of robbing a homeward bounder, so now she's doing time in Botany Bay. Oh, Maggie, Maggie May, they've taken you away. No more to roam alone down Canning Place. For you've robbed too many whalers and poxed too many sailors. Now you'll never see old Lime Street anymore. Thank you very much if you were singing along with me on that. And just to give you a little bit of notes. Now, I first heard this song by the Beatles. I think it's on the play out of Let It Be or something like that. But I think they probably got it from... I can't remember the name of the group. Anyway, it's round indexed 1757. It's a traditional Liverpool folk song about a prostitute who robbed a homeward bounder, which is a sailor coming home from a round trip. John Manifold, in his Penguin Australian Songbook, described it as a folk song of Liverpool origin, apparently, but immensely popular among seamen all over the world. It became widely circulated in a skiffle version from the late 50s. I'm racking my brains to think of who that might be. If anybody knows, I'd be delighted if you put me right on this, because it will keep me awake tonight. Yes, often referred to as Liverpool's unofficial national anthem, this rollicking song must be known to every Liverpudlian who recognises the phrase folk music. Unofficial anthem, I think there's already another song vying for that title in that may come from Carousel, but football fans, they may not be bothered. Those familiar with the song maintain adamantly that there exist a number of obscene verses which serve to fill out the missing episodes of the tale. Unfortunately, none of them actually know these apocryphal lyrics. The piece is much rarer in print than in oral tradition. Stan Hugel expresses surprise that it is not mentioned by other collectors, but redresses the imbalance somewhat by including several sets himself. And Hugel, well, he knows a thing or two about a thing or two. I'm just going to have a A quick move over to the comments section. Carol Fisher says, brilliant. We've already established that because she was saying it to Sally. Chloe Schneider, I can't wait till we get back in a few weeks. Missed it so much. Well, we've missed all you, so we can't wait. We can't wait either. Glad to know that you're looking forward to it, Chloe, and hope you're very well. Maureen Meadows says, well done, Sally. And she also says, hi, Paul. Now, Maureen's one of my favourites, so glad to know that you're out there, Maureen. Sandra Warner says, got to be Tarworthy, Sally. I don't think she's going to go for Tarworthy. It's a lovely song, very lovely, and she does it a lot better than I do. Chloe Schneider says, love it, Paul. Maggie Clark says, just 3 rounds of applause. Marion Bouchette, I'm going to remove that because I'm too shy. Thank you very much. Been a while since I've sung that one, says Michelle Gallagher. Good. Well, I hope you were singing along. I'm sure you were. Maggie Clark says, I thought the Dubliners used to sing Maggie May. It may have been the Dubliners, but I'm holding back judgment first. Anyway, not many people have commented on our Suffolk word or phrase, which this week is Chrissy. Chrissy. Now, it's not there as a name. It is there as a word, and the word is Chrissy. So anybody want to have another stab in the dark? I think we've got a comment up here somewhere from Sue. She said, love Marion's suggestion of Chrissy Plough Horse. I will support her suggestion. Now, Sue knows lots about horses and work horses, I believe, especially. And, well, she knows a lot about a lot of things. But yeah, she's going with Marion Bouchette's suggestion of Chrissy being something that doesn't quite go to plan, like as in crisscross. And her example was, this horse is Chrissy today. It won't plough a straight furrow, I think she said. Or it won't furrow a straight plough. Janet Wood says, my home encyclopedia, and by that I think she means David, says it's the Vipers who sang Maggie May, recorded on Parlophone. Well, if only we could have a bit more detail than that. Thank you very much, Janet and David. Chris Collins said, think the Spinners used to sing it. I think yeah, and she doesn't mean the Detroit Spinners, I don't think. But no, I've got a feeling it might have been the Spinners. Jackie Draper, Chrissy, is it a crybaby? We don't know, but that's a good suggestion. Chrissy, I've got a friend we call Chrissy, and he's certainly not a crybaby. Chris Collins put 4 rounds of applause. Now, Jersey Brzezinski, forgive me, Jersey, I'm terrible with some of these pronunciations, said, any shanty for today. Well, you're correct in that Maggie May was not an actual shanty. But if you've just joined in, you missed 2 shanties from earlier on. Shanties being particular in that they are work songs, whereas some of these are folksal songs. So they would be sung for pleasure rather than for working. Anyway, let's see if Sally's back and if she's made a decision. Hi, Sally.
Hello.
Have you made any decision ever?
Well, clearly no. But with regard for this evening, what about Black Shawl?
Yeah, that'd be lovely. The black, yeah, you get on with that. Right? Yeah, I love the Black Shawl. What I'll do is, if you don't mind, I might put the lyrics up as well. For anybody that wants to sing along. Now, the Black Shawl is a song very particular to Suffolk. There's a few different versions of it that might hail from different parts of the country, but we're quite resolute that it originates from here in Suffolk, certainly East Anglia. Still I Love Him, it's called. If you're looking through your Rogues catalogue.
41.
Thank you very much. What I'd like to do is, it's a lovely song and it's a perfect suggestion, but I would like to just make it so that everybody can join in because it's one of our repertoire. I've just got to find the damn thing. And here it is. There we go. Right. So done that. You would not believe the technology that's going on in the background here. This is a bit like the Wizard of Oz when they say, don't look behind the curtain. Anyway, I'm going to remove me and leave you in Sally's capable hands. But if you'd like to sing along with her, then why don't you do exactly that? Here.
When I was single, I had a black shawl. Now I am married, I've nothing at all. Still I love him, I'll forgive him, I'll go with him wherever he goes. He gave me a handkerchief, red, white, and blue. Then to clean windows he tore it in two. Still I love him, I'll forgive him, I'll go with him wherever he goes. He came up the row and he whispered me out. Then he went off with young Kitty MacLeod. Still I love him, I'll forgive him, I'll go with him wherever he goes. My back is a-breaking, my fingers are sore, gutting the herring he brings to the shore. Still I love him, I'll forgive him, I'll go with him wherever he goes. The storm is a-raging, his boat isn't in. T'others won't tell me what's happened to him. Still I love him, I'll forgive him, I'll go with him wherever he goes. If he's gone to heaven, he'll come to no harm. If he's gone to hell, then he'll keep himself warm. Still I love him, I'll forgive him, I'll go with him wherever he goes. Still I love him, I'll forgive him, I'll go with him wherever he goes.
Absolutely lovely. Thank you very much, Sally. Really, really nice. Now, as I said, this is a song that's rooted in our homeland. It's the round index 654. It's called Still I Love Him. It's also known as the Black Shawl, amongst other titles. Now, we know it via Bob Roberts, who sang Still I Love Him in a 1950s recording made by Peter Kennedy at the Button Oyster in Pinmill, right near to Ipswich. And he also sang it with the titles The Black Shawl on his 1978 LP. He was a spritsail barge skipper, was Bob Roberts, and he plied along the east coast of England. He had a handful of social songs of this kind, chorus songs well suited for ladies and gentlemen to sing with a mug in their hand. I'll be the mug. In fact, Bob Roberts sang this at the Royal Albert Hall with his daughter, I believe, at a very special concert, because he had originally heard the song from his grandfather, who was one of the decorators of the Royal Albert Hall from memory. I wasn't there, but so I hear. Anyway, Sally, thank you very much. Before you go, there's been a heck of a lot of comments coming. Okay, so first off, we've got Michelle Gallagher. 4 rounds of applause. Lovely.
Thank you, Michelle.
Carly Franklin, I like singing this song. 4 rounds of applause.
Yeah, I do too.
And thank you very much, Sally, for putting the harmony in after that first chorus. It's fantastic. Sally is a wonderful harmonist, and it just means that other people can sing along. And I think we hopefully, if you feel like I feel, it's starting to feel a bit more familiar. And when those of us that meet on the 13th of October do so, Sally's, I think, made it feel a bit more familiar with that song. Now, Marion Bouchette says, is Black Shawl traditional? I know parts of it as Do You Love an Apple, and I've always wondered if it is traditional. Well, it is traditional to our part of the world. I wonder how far back I can give provenance to it. Well, the earliest recording that we know of is 1952. What else?
Do You Love an Apple is a great title.
It does, yeah. I mean, we all love an apple. I had one myself, but just this year. Yeah, the earliest we can date it is 1952, Marion. But I think it goes way beyond that. If Bob Roberts was singing it in 1952 and he learned it from his grandfather, which clearly dates it a little bit further back than that. And his grandfather, I guess, didn't write it, so he must have learned it from someone too. But we should look Do You Love an Apple up. Maggie Clark gave it 3 rounds of applause and a thumbs up. Thanks, Maggie. Chris Collins says, brilliant, Sally. Thank you.
Thanks.
Claire Garrett. Oh, that was lovely. She sang along to that. Thank you very much,
Brilliant.
Claire. Wow. 5 rounds of applause. I just made note of that. Loveday Giles.
That's my mummy. That's my mummy.
Yes, it is. She told me off, Sally. I should tell you that, but it's fair enough. Carol Fisher says, love this song. 4 rounds of applause. And Maureen Meadows says, one of my favorites, Sally. Sude, fantastic, Sally.
Thanks.
And Jersey Brzezinski, great song, Sally. That's very kind of you, Jersey. Thank you very much. And also says, looks like a very lovely channel. I need to catch up on previous sessions. Well, thank you very much, Jersey. There's only 28 of them. Ones. Not only that, but if you're interested in the history of Lowestoft, which I'm guessing you might not be, but if you are interested, there's also 17 episodes of Lowestoft history on our channel as well. So do give them a look, but we'll see. He also says, sea songs are beautiful as well. Thank you very much. Maggie Clark says, most of the big folk groups would sing Maggie May. I have seen both the Spinners and the Furies singing it. Ooh. Well, I am jealous. I would have loved to have seen that. But I got to see Sally singing Still I Love Him. And we all did. And we want to just say one more time, thank you so much, Sally. And
you're welcome.
You and John in person when we meet on October the 13th. Before you go, I don't think I can let you off with Chrissy. Are you sure you don't want to hazard a guess at it?
I wonder if it's something to do with being frosty, because Chrissy is short for Christmas, isn't it? So
frosty, isn't it? Yeah,
that's the best I can do, I'm afraid.
I think that'll do just fine. Thank you very much. We'll see with that. Add it in, and when you're gone, hang on a minute. Have you been in conference with Sandra Warner, who says is a Suffolk word for a frosty morning or like a crispy morning? Well, that is
great minds. Great minds.
Absolutely insane. I should say Sally can't see these comments. I don't think so.
Not until you put them up.
Not until I put them up. Yeah. So she did not know that Sandra Warner had said that, and I actually didn't know that. Well, that's great rogues think alike, don't they? Right. Well, thanks once again, Sally, and we'll
Suffolk
see you
Rogues.
Suffolk Rogues, great Suffolk Rogues.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
And don't forget, anybody that wants to order a mask before October the 13th, have a look at the Facebook page called From Grandma's Stash. Take care, Sally. And thank you to Sally once again. Fantastic. And what else have we got for you today? Well, I promised one from South Australia. We all know which one that is. It is, of course, South Australia. It's number 44 in our folders if you have them. If you don't have them, I'm going to be displaying the lyrics. Now, what we tend to do with our actual shanties, and by actual shanties I mean the work songs, because those shanties as work songs had the function of keeping everyone in a concerted, synchronized effort on board a ship when they were carrying out tasks. They would use the beat of the shanties to keep them in check, keep them in rhythm. That was the most important function of the shanties, but they offered some light relief as well. Now, South Australia is a genuine work song, and basically we get that repeating chorus of heave away, you rolling king, heave away, haul away, heave away, oh, hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. With these songs, we're able to dish out solo verses. Verse 2 is Rosemary's. Verse 3 is Kevin's. Verse 4 is Barry's. Verse 5, David's. Verse 6 is up for grabs. Verse 7 is Helen's. And verse 8, we all sing together the same as we do verse 1. But obviously, we're all singing along. But if those people aforementioned aren't singing, well, whatever next, hopefully they will be. And hopefully, even though we're far apart, we'll hear them. If not before, then we'll certainly hear them on October the 13th when we get back together. Anyway, South Australia. There's a few different versions of this. We sing our version. If you're not sure, have a little listen to how it goes. It gets very repetitive. You'll soon catch on. In South Australia I was born, well heave away, haul away. In South Australia round Cape Horn, we're bound for South Australia. Heave away, you rolling king, heave away, haul away. Heave away, oh hear me sing, we're bound for South Australia. As I walked out one morning fair, well heave away, haul away. 'Twas there I met Miss Nancy Blair, we're bound for South Australia. Heave away, you rolling king, heave away, haul away. Heave away, oh hear me sing, we're bound for South Australia. There ain't but one thing grieves my mind, well heave away, haul away, to leave Miss Nancy Blair behind. We're bound for South Australia. Heave away, you rolling king, heave away, haul away. Heave away, oh hear me sing, we're bound for South Australia. Oh, when I sail across the sea, heave away, haul away. My girl said she'd be true to me, we're bound for South Australia. Heave away, you rolling king, heave away, haul away. Heave away, oh hear me sing, we're bound for South Australia. I rung her all night, I rung her all day, well heave away, haul away. I rung her before we sailed away, we're bound for South Australia. Heave away, you rolling king, heave away, haul away. Heave away, oh hear me sing, we're bound for South Australia. I shook her up and I shook her down, heave away, haul away. I shook her round and round and round, we're bound for South Australia. Heave away, you rolling king, heave away, haul away. Heave away, oh hear me sing, we're bound for South Australia. Oh, when we wallop around Cape Horn, heave away, haul away. You'll wish to God you'd never been born, we're bound for South Australia. Heave away, you rolling king, heave away, haul away. Heave away, oh hear me sing, we're bound for South Australia. Wish I was on Australia's strand, well heave away, haul away. With a glass of whiskey in my hand, we're bound for South Australia. Heave away, you rolling king, heave away, haul away. Heave away, oh hear me sing, we're bound for South Australia. Thank you very much if you were joining in. I think Jerzy Brzezinski was as well. He says, this is very unique when you heard heave and haul in the same song. Well, I think you're absolutely right, Jerzy. Because haul would be used to describe the pull of one particular task, usually for things like raising the sail. You know, if you think of the word halyard, you literally haul a yard of rope at a time, whereas heave would be kind of a similar movement, but for a different function. And you seem to know your stuff, Jerzy. and you've got great English too. Great singing, especially in pump shanty tempo. You certainly do know your stuff. That pump shanty was a much slower tempo, as demonstrated with that. It would normally be a much faster song. So thank you, Jersey. Fantastic comments there. Sally says, watching with the rest of you now. Yeah, she's no longer in our green room, which is a shame because it was nice to see her just down there, crapping or laughing at things that I was saying and not at all putting me off. Now, South Australia is in the round index as number 325. Contrary to the jolly nature of shanties like this, shipboard life in the early days was miserable indeed. You're absolutely right. Now, A.L. Lloyd, old Bertie, he comments in his album sleeve, Across the Western Plains. In the days of sail, South Australia was a familiar going away song, sung as the men trudged round the capstan to heave up the heavy anchor. We'll come to the capstan in a minute. Some say the song originated on wool clippers. Others say it was first heard on the emigrant ships. There is no special evidence to support either belief. It was sung just as readily aboard Western Ocean ships as in those on the Australian run. Now, as you mentioned, the capstan. A capstan was a device very much like a modern winch, but back then it would be much, much bigger, and it would be operated by a group of men that would push spokes or pawls, P-A-W-L, as they were called, and they'd chest them, so that they'd push their whole weight into their chest to push the spoke or pawl and walk around this capstan with it. Sometimes there'd just be one man on each spoke, sometimes there'd be two, and they'd walk around in order to reel up a cable which would be connected to the anchor. Obviously, they were very, very, very heavy, and this was the best device for it to pull them up. Now, this says this was also performed not just as a capstan, but also a pump shanty. Used as a hand-over-hand halyard shanty as well, with the crew hauling on the mainsail halyard during the shantyman's solo parts, as well as on the chorus parts. So it's kind of one size fits all. And I'm going to say hello to my dear friend called Lorna Tucker. And she says, love, love, love. She just likes South Australia, I think. I think she'd rather be in South Australia, probably. But lovely to know you're out there, Lorna. Thank you for tuning in. I'm a bit embarrassed now. Claire Garrett gives it 4 rounds of applause. She says, great song. Well, thank you very much, Claire. I don't think I deserve 4 rounds of applause, but it's very nice of you. There's 2 songs I'd really like to get in before we depart, so we'll see how we go for time. Now, this one is called The Arbroath Tragedy. This is our Scottish one for the night. Let's get rid of that. And anybody that wants to sing along, I wonder if I've got this. We don't normally sing this as a group. Sally's husband, John, normally sings this. Let me see if I can find it though, because it'd be great to know that you were joining in with you. It's number 58 in our usual repertoire. And it's a wonderful song. It's a ballad all the way back to, as I said, in Scotland. And it's all about a tragedy that befell a small fishing community called Arbroath, for those of you that don't know Scotland. And it was when the lifeboat was sent out to a distress signal that basically wasn't actually there. Oh, come on, Paul, get your act together. Here we go. Yes, I have got it. So there's no excuse for not singing along. I'll tell you a bit more about it in a little while. But in the meantime, either sing along or just have a listen. Oh, listen while I tell you of the Arbroath tragedy. of how 6-gallon lifeboatmen were thrown into the sea on October 27th in the year of 53, and only one brave man was saved in that calamity. The night was dark and stormy, and the lifeboat standing by, when all at once a rocket jumped into the angry sky. The Robert Lindsay ventured out to see the reason why, but nothing could they find that night, no matter how they tried. For hours they searched that Tuesday morn until the break of day, but not a bit of wreckage could they find in Arbroath Bay. It's home for mugs of cocoa for us sailors while we may, or we'll never make the shore, they heard the coxswain say. As they came back across the bar, it was an awful sight. The lifeboat overturned them in the sea as black as night. They couldn't reach the shore alive, though struggle as they might, and only Archie Smith was saved upon that dreadful night. Two brothers sank beneath the waves, a father and a son. The boatman Thomas Adams went the way that they had gone, and when the boat was washed ashore beneath the morning sun, the coxswain David Bruce was lashed, the steering wheel upon. So let's remember all the men who go down to the sea, and all their wives and sweethearts dear, wherever they may be, and the working men who give their lives in dire necessity, the fishermen who died that night in 1953. And the lyrics of the song are the working men who give their lives in dire necessity. But we tribute that to not just the working men, but also the working women. There's lots of women in the RNLI crews now, and very valued. They all are. So we honour them in a small way with our tribute to them, called the Arbroath Tragedy. It was a terrible tragedy. Basically, in a nutshell, the rocket went into the sky to indicate that there was a ship in distress and a lifeboat was needed. So the Robert Lindsay, which was a lifeboat for Arbroath, was sent out to answer that call. And the sea was so ferocious that night that when they just got offshore, the sea overturned them, and it was a specific design of ship that meant the whole crew were trapped inside. The masts were broken on the ship, and it was turned right over and returned back to shore. But it was such a heavy boat, and the tide was such that even though there were lots and lots of people witnessing this terrible event, nothing they could do could turn the boat right in order to get the men out. So all but one drowned. And in fact, it was such a terrible storm that the coxswain, David Bruce, was tied to the steering wheel so that he could steer and not be washed off. The storm was so bad. It's hard to imagine, but basically, yeah, they had to tie one of the crew to the steering wheel just in order to be able to steer, but it was to no avail. And yeah, all but one of that 7-man crew lost their life that night. Anyway, what do we have to say now? Sally Hardman says, you mean the other Scottish one for the night? Absolutely. You're quite right. I think one's lowland and one's Highland. So one comes from the Sassenachs and the other doesn't. Arbroath Smokies, yummy, says Chris Collins. What are Arbroath Smokies? I'm guessing they must be fish. Bill Lyman says, not sure, but I think that a pole is the locking gear that stops the capstan from falling backwards. I think you're right, Bill. But basically, those spokes went into, much like a ratchet winch of the modern type that we have. Because the spokes went all the way into the capstan, they were the locking gear as well. So you push them forward, and then they would not come backwards, because they were caught by like the fins of the cartridge of it. But maybe we're getting too technical. Marion Bouchard says 3 rounds of applause. Thank you very much. John says well done, which is high praise indeed, or should I say low praise, because John has a fantastic bass voice. Maureen Meadows very kindly says singing well tonight. Thank you. Chris Collins says, I have family in Saskatchewan, which is good for you, Chris Collins. I guess. Where is Saskatchewan? Is that related to Marion Bouchette's How You Heard It Boy from the last session we did? Now, How You Heard It Boy is when we refer to this book, Suffolk Words and Phrases. Now, this is by Mr. Edward Moore, which is a book in 1823. We like to get a word to see if you can identify the correct meaning of it or not. And in this case, very few people have commented on the word, which is Chrissy. It looks like that, Chrissy. Does anybody know what that might mean? Chrissy. If you do, have a little guess. Let us know, because I'll be coming back to it very shortly. So be delighted to know what you think. In the meantime, if you haven't already, why not click share so that your friends and relatives and everybody on your Facebook list can see on your feed what you're up to right now, or when you watch it later, which I know lots of you do. By clicking share, you are letting other people know exactly what you think of our little broadcasts. So yeah, just give a little click on share. This is a bunch of people that you can't click, but you could look us up on Facebook. If you're viewing us from YouTube, we're called the Rogue Shanty Chorus. And we, as you can see, we're quite a large group, and there's even more people than that normally. But that was one of our performances. I think that was a shoddy night in. If you would like to join us, you can. At the moment, we're very, very limited, so it might take us some time to get everybody back on their feet before we can accept brand new members. But we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, what a fabulous bunch of rogues they are. I think you'll agree. One more time, I'm going to mention that we are funded by People's Health Trust. They look like this. They're right here. That's their logo. And they're very, very kind in that they fund us to not just have our physical, actual in-person sessions, but they've also funded these live stream Shanty Sessions, of which we're on number 28. But if you wanted to do a little bit more, if you're enjoying this broadcast and you'd like to support us further, you can do so by making donations at paypal.me/onlinechoir. And it looks like this. That address again is www.paypal.me/onlinechoir. You can donate by debit card or PayPal. We know times are hard, and any amount is very gratefully received, and that will go directly towards keeping the Rogue Shanty Chorus singing. As I said, we are funded by the People's Health Trust Active Communities Program, and they encourage us to seek funding from elsewhere as well within the community to make things more sustainable. And we'd be very grateful if you could help make us more sustainable. But if not a problem, just as long as you can enjoy these sessions and maybe pop in a comment or two. Now, we had this comment already from Chris Collins. I have family in Saskatchewan. And Marion Bouchette says, good on you for spelling that correctly, Chris Collins. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly, although she has spelt it correctly. And yes, it is a place in Canada, we're guessing. Chris Collins says, I've even been there. Cheeky wink. Linda Boy says, our both Smokies are bloaters, I think. Well, that's good to know. Bill Lyman corrects me and Jersey. She says, Paul and Spokes, two different things. Okay, my mistake. And Jersey says, not quite true. Lock on capstan was invented much later. That is true, I believe. You're quite right. Early on, the guys would have to just stand their ground and put their boots hard on the deck and just push. In effect, the men were the locks on those earlier capstans. He says, I have this book from PayPal. It's printed in Glasgow, 1913. Oh, fantastic. Oh, do you mean Suffolk Words and Phrases, Jersey? Is that you also have a copy? That's fantastic. Glad somebody else is a word nerd like me and Stephen. Now, I would like to go for a song now that it's not a shanty. It's in the style of a shanty, but it isn't a shanty because it's much more modern. I promised you a song from Norfolk, from Cornwall, from Scotland. You got two of those, so don't complain. From South Australia, and I also said that there'd be one from Suffolk. Now, the one from Suffolk tonight is written by Kevin Barnard, our wonderful storyteller. I'm going to do a terrible job of playing it. And if you'd like to sing along, it is the newest song in our repertoire. And hopefully I've got the words for you to sing along. Yes, of course I have. It looks like this. It's called Call of the Sea. And we put Kevin's lyrics to music. Since I was an imper and fed upon a kipper, I've always wished to go to sea. There was nothing on land for what I had planned, but the sea could set me free. Could set me free, set me free. I've always wished to go to sea. Watching boats set sail, hearing every mariner's tale, I dreamt of adventure with glee. So at the age of 13, I sailed for country and queen, voyaging by royal decree. By royal decree, royal decree, I dreamt of adventures with glee. With adventures aplenty, I had seen the world by 20, causing landlubbers jealousy. And I was not caught with a girl in every port, never brought down upon one knee. Upon one knee, or on one knee, causing landlubbers jealousy. Now wherever I roam, I can call it my home, but I know it's only temporary. As my mistress, the ocean, has provoked every emotion, she will always be the one for me. The one for me, the one for me, but I know it's only temporary. The one for me, she's the one for me, but I know it's only temporary. As I said, that is written by our wonderful storyteller, Kevin Barnard, and it's number 64 in our repertoire, so you can get used to it. Have a good look at it. We'll be putting that to good use with many voices. I spoke to Kevin recently, and he loved the sound of it, and he said he's just really excited to hear what the Rogues do with it, with many voices. It'll be fantastic to know. I think so too. Now, before we go, I've got to do the honours of putting people right on what the word Christy meant. Now, we've had quite a few suggestions. All of them pretty fantastic and damn good guesses too. But before I do that, Cassia Marcinkowska says, Paul, check out the song The Last Saskatchewan Pirate. It taught me to spell that word. Saskatchewan Pirate. Or the last one. I'll have a look for that. It looks pretty good. Jerry Brzezinski, Jerry Brzezinski, I'm going to give up. Jersey says, hi, Kazia. Sally says, oh, good. Really like Kevin's song. Hope you still do after I just murdered it. Carly Franklin gives 3 rounds of applause. 3 from Claire, 3 from Michelle. Marion Bouchette says, last Saskatchewan pirate, awesome song written by the Arrogant Worms. I love that. That's fantastic. Thank you, Marion. And Sally Hardman gives it 3 rounds of applause. Sandra says, can't wait to sing this. I hope you were singing along. If you weren't, though, you were probably saving yourself for when we get together in person to sing it. Chris Collins gives it, maybe that's a round of applause, and then a punch, and then a punch, and another, or maybe she's praying. Jersey says, absolutely great song. Thank you very much, Jersey. I'll pass it on to Kevin. He'll be delighted. Sude says, I am jealous. I am a jealous landlubber of Kevin's writing skills. Great song, she says. I think I have to agree. He is a pretty good writer. But if you've never done that before, why not give it a go yourself, writing some songs? It's inside all of us, I'm sure. Now, anyway, I promised you I would go back to this word. Chrissy, we're nearly done for the evening. Thank you for joining in. But Chrissy, the word Chrissy, what does that mean exactly? Well, let me tell you. Chrissy is a word meaning crisis. Well, things have come to a fine Chrissy, is the example we're given in Edward Moore's book. Chrissy. So if you didn't know before, that's what it means. It's a bit of a cheat one, really, isn't it? There's no great... I can hear you all going, Anyway, I want to say thank you from Stephen and myself very much for joining in, for your comments, for saying hello to us, for thanking People's Health Trust, as some of you often do, for anybody that clicked share tonight, as some of you often do. It's really appreciated. And for any of you that are already in the Shanty Chorus, hello to you. Hello to everybody that's been joining us since lockdown, and hello to everybody that's just joined us for the first time tonight. You're all very welcome, and we love having you there right alongside us as we do this. And all your comments are fantastic. Thank you very much. And there's not really much else to say except good night. And yes, of course, I should thank our wonderful guest one more time, Sally Hardman. She sang 2 wonderful songs, and she sang them very, very well indeed. We've got a thank you, Paul and Sally from Ben Southern, an enjoyable evening. Hazel says, thanks, another great evening. And Carly says, thank you, Paul, for a lovely evening again. Sally says, thank you for a lovely evening, Paul, and for letting me come and play. No, it was our pleasure. Thank you very much. Jackie Draper says, thanks, Paul, Sally, and People's Health Trust. Marion says, thanks, Paul, for top-notch solo hosting, and thanks to People's Health Trust. Thanks, Paul and Sally, says Monica Manning. Linda Boyce says, thanks for another lovely evening. I'm going to have to leave it there because, I've run over. What do you know? Anyway, thank you, everybody. It really is a pleasure. Thanks for tuning in. And you can watch this session again, or you can catch our live sessions next week. Good night, everyone.